thank
This
you.
meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so
There you go.
thank you all so much. These are some of my friends from up here and out in Texas and down in Florida. So I'm so grateful that you guys are on. This is Greg and Mena, which is really neat because we actually attended the same church in Florida.
Yep.
I put that piece together just the other night when I was talking to Greg and he brought up the church, and I'm like, wait a minute. You know Ralph and Joanne? He's like, yeah, I'm on the board there. I'm like, wait a minute. I remember who you and Mena were, where you sat and everything, which seems kind of creepy probably, but not. I don't mean it creepy. It's just the two of you really, I was telling Sandy, there was just this beautiful, you were a beautiful family, and you just, out of all the people that attended there, why did I remember the two of you specifically all these years later? So I'm just so grateful that I reached out to Greg last minute and said, I don't really know what I'm doing yet. And he said, Mena and I can help you out. So grateful for that. And Rusty and I just got started with this amazing patch less than a week ago. And so for us to be this excited that we're sitting here on a Zoom call says a lot.
Yep. Yeah,
So
absolutely. And
thank you, Greg and Mena, for doing this tonight.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're very, very excited. Obviously, we live in the Sarasota, Florida area, just a little bit north of Sarasota, kind of between Sarasota and Tampa. And we always are very excited to share this amazing technology. My wife is actually an attorney from South Africa, so that's why the accent, and also why sometimes there's medical disclosures I'll have her kind of go over for, because we're not attorneys, we're not doctors, I mean,
we're not medically trained, so we do not give any guarantees. We do not talk about diagnosis or tell you how this product is actually going to be a miracle working product. But we do know that the use of our friends and family, there have been so many testimonies, and it's as a result of that we feel a social responsibility to actually share this with absolutely everyone that comes across our path. Because, if God puts a great tool in your hand, what are you going to do with it? Like hide it under a bushel? No. He wants us to share the light. And this is a patch that uses light frequency.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that.
That?
That's you. She always has her thumbs up, and also the thumbs up comes up. See that? That's what usually happens. She approves of my talk now. Yeah. So, but what's interesting is that my wife and I didn't know anything about the company. We didn't know anything about the product. We literally, when we took a look at it specifically, I was basically had a friend of mine that talked to me about it. We heard a little bit about it from our church and heard from a few people talking about it. We never really researched it, but my friend said, I'm going to come over and talk to you about it. And they did. And I said, I'll try anything, because literally I had a car accident back in 2016 that damaged my neck, my shoulder, my back. Literally the neck was the worst out of it. My shoulder got better. My back got somewhat better. But then I re-injured my shoulder again, which was not a good thing. But then on 9/11/2021, I've got a group that we work, it's called F3, and we're basically about 200,000 men strong across the country, and they do these crazy boot camps. Well, there's a building here in Sarasota called the Benderson Tower. It's a 5-story building, has stairs on the outside on both sides. And we went up and down this building 18 times on 9/11/2021 to represent the amount of stairs that firefighters climbed on 9/11. It was awesome. We had over 100 people there, all these firefighters, everything else. It was fantastic. The challenge that I had is I slipped and tripped and injured my knee really bad. And I was like, oh no, not more injuries. And then literally months later developed hip pain. Hip pain is not a good thing. If anybody's ever had hip pain, I don't wish it upon my worst enemy. My friend talked about this stem cell activation patch. He talked about how this would use my own body's heat and light, reflect off of this, and I will kind of explain that, how it's going to help. Well, 3 days later, no knee pain, no hip pain, no shoulder pain, no neck pain. I'm like, what in the world is this? How does this thing work? And the rest is history. I'll never forget the light bulb moment. Also, I was like, oh my goodness, this is the real deal. This is like real technology. It's a wearable technology, and people are getting results like crazy. And since then, we've been able to help people with things even like Alzheimer's, like dementia, like Parkinson's and MS and autism actually reversing, and things like all these autoimmune diseases. We'll talk more about that. But we literally have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of personal testimonials, because we can't stop talking about this. And so when we start talking to people about this, we're like, hey, if you know anybody else, please let them know about this, so we can at least, make sure that they know about this, so they can use this for themselves and their family as well. excuse me. So one thing we're going to do is kind of go through a PowerPoint, explain a little bit about this, explain some of the websites, some of the other information. But we do tell people, say, the one thing that so many people are familiar with stem cells, maybe they may have, heard of stem cells. You might have, seen, people with stem cell injections. You might have seen a lot of stuff. It's one of the most researched things right now. And all these people are researching because they understand the powerful part about that. So I'm going to share my screen, and then what we'll do is we should be done in about a half an hour, 40 minutes at the most. And then we'll be able to open up for different questions and things like that too. And I might kind of ask some people some questions as we're going through. So one thing that it was so funny, we talked about, the idea of, using a patch, and I had someone say, well, if this patch makes me look like this person, or at least smile like that person, I'd be very interested, in this. But the very first thing that we did is we started researching the company, looking at some of the things, and actually found out that David Schmidt is the CEO, the inventor of the X39. The actual company's now basically celebrating 20 years, literally this coming October, and we didn't even know anything about the company, but this product itself got launched back in 2019. Specifically, David said, I want to create a product that's a wearable technology, and he started actually working with the Navy SEALs and the Navy, trying to help the Navy SEALs stay alert for 36 hours. And he found a way to do that back 20 years ago. And they started creating all these other things. But back in 2008, he started really focusing attention on stem cell research. And he really started specializing in age reversing. So I just thank God that for people like this, and they'll really take their time, their energy, their resources, and decades to find products for people like you and I to utilize that's going to benefit us. But this one product took, 10 years and $4.5 million worth of research and to bring to market. And it's patented, and he stopped counting after 130 patents. It's pretty amazing, the product.
So I like to explain this because obviously my background being law, I have colleagues that are patent attorneys, and I understand the work that actually goes into getting a product patented. One has to do a lot of research, pay a lot of money, and also make sure that this is a product that is one of a kind and that no one has something like this, and that all the claims that are being made in this patent are actually legitimate, and that this product actually functions the way that this document actually states. So it is registered in the US, and the patent number is there, 10716-953B1. The website, this is at info.com, actually has this patent there, and one can go read it. It is 31 pages long, so or short, no matter which way you look at it. And in fact, if you care to read it, you're more than welcome. But I just want to read this excerpt out of the patent because, like I said previously, if these claims are stated in the patent, then one needs to consider that this is actually happening for people. And it says, there's a beneficial effect, at least by providing phototherapy to the human body, and for example, in some embodiments as a result of elevating copper peptide, including activation of stem cells, improvements in energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvements in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing because it's actually written in the patent. They've got all these studies. One thing maybe I didn't know this. I found one person so far. Maybe someone else on here knew this, but Lily talked about, once again, as you age, your stem cells start going dormant. And so the part that I didn't know about this too is that they said when you're young, think about, our bodies are meant to heal, and the stem cells can become anything. And what they call pluripotent is the word that we've heard, is that basically they can become anything they need. They become hair cells, skin cell, eye cell, tongue cell, skin cells, nerve cells, because all those different things, but they start diminishing over time. So basically by the time you're 30, you have half the activity that you have when you're younger. And by the time you're 60, you have maybe 5 to 10% maybe of the same activity. So when we talk about elevating copper peptides, which activate your own stem cells, it's amazing what happens when your body starts doing that. And we'll talk a little more about that. But the part that still kind of blows me away about this was that how many people don't know about that, understand a little bit about stem cells, and I start researching this. They're like, oh my goodness, amazing. Because they know if you break your arm at 8 or 18 compared to breaking your arm at 80, who heals faster, quicker, more complete? It's the people that are younger because of the stem cells.
So how the X39 works, it's a proprietary form of phototherapy. We learned a lot of big words when we actually started to get involved with the company, some things that we didn't know about, but it really is all on the website, which some of you have already seen. It is a patented nanocrystal technology. It reflects light to activate, not transdermal. Nothing is going into the body, no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants, and it's not invasive. And the product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition.
Yeah. And so what's interesting is that we have a lot of different studies, and we just show a couple different in here. And some people might understand these brain scans that they do. And when you talk about this, I just shared this with someone. We were in St. Louis, Missouri just a few days ago, and she goes, "Oh, blue and green, those are good things." I'm like, "Oh," and she goes, "No, I had brain scans done." I'm like, "Oh my goodness." So we start talking about her challenges. But once again, in fact, that was the same person that knew about stem cells too, which was kind of interesting. But you know, they talk about using this on a bunch of different people. This is an example of someone who's 77-year-old woman placed the X39 patch on the back of her neck. This is what we recommend. We'll talk about that. But Lily, in session 1, before they put the patch on, they took a brain scan. If you see all the red, the orange, and everything that's in there, that's inflammation in the brain. And even David and that person who's doing this said, if you should get that inflammation brain, her body's probably riddled with inflammation as well. And so what she had lack of brain coherence, had a lot of challenges that were going on. Session 2 is only 3 weeks later. Even the person who's doing the brain scan says, "I've never seen anything like this." The inflammation was basically detoxed out. Once again, better improved brain coherence. And another 3 weeks later, once again, complete turnaround. Even David said, "This is what a balanced brain looks like." I said, "I'll take your word for it. I just see colors." But when you understand that, the difference on this is once again between her, day 1 compared to, basically 60 days later or 6 weeks later. I mean, you look at the time frame on that, what happens. And so even with them, they said, "Well, if people start eating better, drinking lots of water, doing all the right things, well, could you get the same kind of results?" He said, "Well, yeah, but it's going to take a lot longer." In fact, the guy who's done these brain scans has done so many brain scans. He said, "I've never seen a result like this ever," which is pretty amazing.
So the benefits of X39, I actually love sharing this because we pretty much, well, we have experienced absolutely everything on here, and we hear these testimonies, similar things happening to our friends and family. Increased strength, reduced inflammation. That is a big one because, we know that the root of all disease is really inflammation. You get rid of inflammation, you can get rid of a lot of itises, autoimmunes. Increased stamina, energy and vitality, mental clarity. We hear a lot of people talking about brain fog, forgetting why they walked in a room. Now, they're remembering things. Restored muscle and skeletal conditions, improvement of sleep. And this is really big for me for many years. As a practicing attorney, you like worry about everybody's matter, and you go to bed thinking, "Oh my gosh, how can I help this one? What about this? What about that?" And I could not fall asleep. And so going to bed at night was not something I looked forward to because I would lie awake for a long time. And then, when I eventually got to sleep, if I woke up during the course of the evening, I would not be able to go back to bed. Since wearing the X39, oh my goodness, I am blown away. Thank you, Lord. I put my head on the pillow and I am gone, and it's a deep, rested sleep. And I wake up in the morning refreshed, and I think to myself, oh my goodness, is that what it feels like to sleep well? Well, praise God, I do now. Improved skin appearance, and we're hearing this from so many of our friends. But it's not only, the idea of your fine lines and wrinkles disappearing and the dark spots and things like that, but also, teenagers with challenges, and people with psoriasis or acne and things like that. So it's the way to achieve optimal health, a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So it's all round, like your holistic healing of the body, the mind, and, every way. So
absolutely. And what's interesting is that the other thing is all these long-term studies, because some people say, well, if I put it on and my shoulder feels better, can I stop using it? Well, that's fine. But what happens is you continue, I say we're kind of going down this downward, decline. And what happens is that when you actually start doing this, the goal obviously is what he talks about is reverse aging, is actually stopping and start getting younger and younger physically, if you understand how that works. So what happens is that when you put the patch on, this is something I still don't understand, but he talks about for the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset to a younger state. So what happens, your body goes into a reboot. And some of you might have obviously experienced with your phone or with your computer. If you start typing and it's not working, or you start hitting enter and it's not working, what do you do? Do you say, "Oh, I'm just going to wait and hopefully it'll fix itself," or do you reboot the computer? Well, our body goes into a reboot. And that's one thing they talk about, because when you start doing this, things start changing in your body right away. Well, a lot of people talk about other things that reset genes, like even resveratrol and red wine, and people now have it in supplements, and they talk about, oh, this is great because we got this in there. Well, it's good, but that resets 2 genes. This resets 4,000. Now, again, this is based upon all the studies. You can see that on thisisitinfo.com. Within 6 weeks, you can see by the brain scan, your brain becomes balanced. They talk about hormonal balances. Our bodies are meant to be balanced. If we drink a lot of things that are acidic, your body naturally tries to cut down the acidity by doing different things. And so, but the one thing you think about how our body's made, if you can start balancing your brain hormone, things like that, it makes a huge difference. Within 3 months, your collagen level is increased. Now, this is something that's amazing because it's your own collagen level. In fact, we were just at the store earlier. We were actually walking down the aisle. I go, oh, look, collagen peptides. You know, it said whatever it was, and I was like, yeah, collagen peptides. And so when you look at all these things that are being sold out there, you're ingesting all these other things. What if you could do that naturally? All kinds of things happen. Your hair, your skin. In fact, I got to cut my nails again. It's crazy. And I had a bald spot back here. Basically, it was actually a balding spot, I should say. It's no longer, which is kind of cool. All these little things happen. And once again, within 6 months, this is the big one. Your heart reverses in age. Now, again, the studies they've done, and they've done some small studies, some bigger studies, but when they talk about this, they said the average age reversal within 6 months is 8 years. So I'm 53 now, and I feel like I'm 36. And I'm thinking my heart maybe is 36 now, but it's actually made a massive difference. And this is a pretty bold statement that David Schmidt gets quoted all the time. He said, this is not anti-aging, it's age reversing. He said it's based upon actually all the studies they've done, the science, everything they've done, and they've done all these different tests on people to prove, once again, what happens. And to me, we've never seen a product like this. So to share just one little thing that I didn't share earlier was that a lot of people go, well, how does the product work? And we'll talk a little bit more, about that. But once again, when Mena mentioned about organic nanocrystals, I always think about if you had two magnets, say these are two magnets, they'd stick all day long, right? But if you reversed one, flip one over, they would repel each other. Well, that's kind of how this works. It's basically where your body's heat light hit the patch and then they reverse back a certain frequency. That's what took 10 years, come up with the right frequency with the nanocrystals, reflect that back to actually activate your copper peptides, GHK copper peptides specifically, that activates our own stem cells. It's the same way when you go out the sun hits our skin, which is our biggest organ. It's the frequency from the sun that elevates different things in our body, like vitamin D. We don't get vitamin D push from the sun. It activates things in our body. They do that and a lot of other things. So it's healthy to go in the sun for a short period of time. So go ahead.
You want to?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
So how to wear the patch? You wear the patch 12 hours on and 12 hours off, and repair and rejuvenate. And preferably the hours on is during the day, because, when we lay down and rest, that's for our bodies to repair and rejuvenate. So we take the patch off after 12 hours, throw it away, put on a new patch, and drink plenty of water. And that is water with minerals, because we don't want to be drinking water that's been stripped of all minerals, because that is dead water and it does not hydrate the body at the cellular level. So also add additional electrolytes. We've learned that as we've gone along, because some minerals are stripped from the water and they're not put back into the water. So you want to make sure you're getting the necessary electrolytes as well as good water.
Yeah, and the 2 spots they show on the back of the neck and below the belly button is where they did all the studies. You can literally put it anywhere. So if you have a shoulder issue, you can put it right in your shoulder, but the stem cells are directed by the brain where it says, hey, go here first. So if some people have a heart issue or a gut issue or liver or kidney issue, and you got a sore shoulder, chances are it's going to prioritize your heart, your lungs, your kidney, whatever, over your shoulder. So it's going to help fix that first. And that's something the same way that if you broke your arm, it's going to prioritize it going there over certain things, but it's going to start fixing you. That's why I tell people, I don't know if it's going to take 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. It takes a while for this. And they said for every decade that you're alive, is about every month you should be using these patches. But we tell people at least a 90-day run. The reason why, because the 97% people notice a significant difference within the first 90 days, which is pretty amazing. So we have tons of testimonials, some great things we want to do. But what I'm going to do is I'd love to have, obviously, Rusty and Linda actually share a little bit more about what their experience has been so far, because they said they'd love to share, maybe talk a little more about that, and then we can share a couple other things along with that too.
Sure. So we just got started like 4 or 5 days ago. But I had been looking and researching stem cells for months. So when the patch came along, I get the science, like I immediately started looking at the studies and the patent, because I'm kind of a geek like that. I like to read all those things. So it made sense. And then Greg had said, the whole for every decade you've been alive. So when I talked to Rusty about it, I said, look, we've got to be willing to go into this for a minimum of 6 months. Are you willing to do this? And he's like, I'm in. So we started, you put a patch on Thursday morning. That's when we got started. And you woke up that day. Go ahead. Do you want to talk about because he's been in construction his whole life. So he's really, he built houses, then he remodeled, he's done all kinds of construction stuff. So he's really beat his body up and he's got a lot of inflammation and injuries. What do you do?
Well, yeah.
What did you feel that day when you came home? Because he was kind of worried about going to work because he had to do a lot of pressure washing, and it's really been working on his shoulders and arms really bad. So
yeah, my shoulders didn't hurt at all. Actually, I went to work, and I mean, it's like anybody else. You're kind of skeptical about will it work or will it not work. And actually, I forgot all about it. My shoulders, I went ahead and pressure washed like I normally did, and it didn't hurt at all. And I'm like, man, is this because I I just started some exercises for my shoulders too. And I'm like, what is it, that or is it the exercises? And I thought, I mean, just doing it exercises one time, it really can't be the exercise. That's like unbelievable. And I'm like, well, then the next day came and then my shoulders didn't hurt again. And then I guess it was this morning I got up and I don't even know how to use the things. And I told her to get, because we got the icy patch things too also. And I told her, she said, well, they're for pain. I said, well, I'll put one on you because you're a pain in my behind.
that wasn't very, oh my gosh, delete that out.
But
I can delete things out. That's okay. No.
But anyhow,
I can be.
I put one on. I didn't even know there was different colors. So I put a brown one. I guess it was a brown one. And I put it where like my back was hurting for the last 2 days. Well, I put it on this morning and my back honestly did not hurt whatsoever. None all day long. It didn't hurt. And I thought, man, can this be really, you kind of wonder to yourself, did God heal me or did this really work?
Both.
And I'm thinking to myself, and then you say, talking to Linda on the phone, that I should have had 2 of them on. And I didn't know, I didn't know. And I didn't even know we had to. I don't even know how to work the things. But anyhow, it worked.
He knew where to go.
Yeah.
To get the relief, and he just
I did, and I didn't take any ibuprofen or nothing,
which he lived off of for a long time.
Yeah,
and I was
and
concerned.
it worked, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't even know if I'll put one on tomorrow because if it's not hurting, I won't use it. So, but it does work. I mean,
yeah.
I know it sounds like I'm trying to sell these things, but when something works, it works. It just does.
Yeah, he's excited to be out of pain. So that's a big deal.
So, yeah.
For me, I have a lot of inflammation, like chronic inflammation. I mean, I can feel it, and I've been on a lot of supplements and they do help, but it's never gone completely away. And dementia runs in our family, like really bad. So, that's kind of always on my radar. I'm always trying to do things to improve the quality of my life and make sure that I don't, if I don't have to go down that path, I don't. And so I would say maybe 6, 7 months ago, I started noticing that I was having trouble finding words. And it wasn't all day, but it was becoming more that it was definitely on my radar. And this was literally an answer to prayer, because I would say these words every single day. I would, pray over myself about healing. And then I would say, Lord, I just want so much to be rejuvenated, revived, and refreshed. And then I'm listening to a video, I think that one of you sent me, and they said those exact same words. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, that's exactly what I've been praying for. And this is day 4 that I've had no problems finding any words. And I mean, I really do pay attention to it. So that's what I've noticed so far. There are plenty of other places in my body that the patch can go to work that I wouldn't necessarily know about it. But again, I understand the science, so I'm just thrilled that it's doing what it's supposed to.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's awesome. And that's the part sometimes, you guys are brand new, just using it. And sometimes we get with Rusty being like a one patch wonder and different things like that. For me, it was 3 months. Some people, it takes weeks or months. What was that, interesting?
I didn't know that it would, I mean, I didn't know about putting like 2 of them on, but,
Yeah.
Well, that was a whole different, that we just bought the Icy Wave in case you had severe pain, like when you got injured with your back
yeah.
a couple weeks ago, you
Yeah,
were in
but
such
I mean,
excruciating
when he
pain.
put that thing up on the screen, you can actually put 2 of the ones on.
Yeah.
Now, does that, is it okay to do that?
Oh yeah, yeah. So again, there's different things, and so
Yeah.
that one specifically is a patch they had prior to the X39 that people they use as a pain blocker, and so it's literally a 2-patch system. But we've had people do the same thing. They put 1 patch on because they don't know, and it stops the pain.
Yeah.
And so it's meant to do that because sometimes people have a back pain or neck pain or different things like that. The difference on the X39 too is that it literally is a stem cell reactivation patch, so it activates and stem cells are the repair cells. So like for me, when my neck pain went away and my hip pain went away and everything else, I could still feel like a stiffness in my neck. I didn't have full mobility. My knee, I could still feel it in there, but it wasn't painful, which is very interesting. So normally if I walked downstairs, it was very painful, but I felt something in there. 5, 6, 7 weeks, I don't even know the time frame, but later I had full mobility, my neck, my knee, everything else. I'm going, oh my goodness, what a difference. Because you start thinking about the repair. The ones they had previous to that, they're good products, but again, they don't repair anything. And that's the part where God's created our bodies to actually heal, which is pretty neat. So you'll start seeing a difference with, with that. We've had, people use different things and different, some people continue using, ibuprofen, different stuff. And I know I was until that 3rd day and I was like, what happened here? And it's just like amazing. And so I used to go to a chiropractor every single week, sometimes twice a week. I've been back since September of 2022.
22.
It's amazing.
Wow.
It's
Cool.
yeah.
That is.
That's awesome. So, but go ahead. Sorry. Were you gonna say
Oh, I'm
something?
sorry. I was going to say too, we did put our son on it, our youngest son, who is he's autistic. We haven't noticed anything yet. I do just want to be honest about that. But that's okay. We know something is going on and it may just take time, but
Oh, definitely.
we feel like for the first time in a long time, like we really have hope
Mhm.
for him with some of the stemming things that he wants to stop and he can't. And he got, he's a teenager, so he knows that it's not normal and he doesn't want people to notice and see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're like really.
Yeah. And we've had tremendous results with so many different things. And sometimes, like I said, it takes time. So we had a friend of ours and we heard so much about macular degeneration. I don't know if you want to share Rose's testimony just real quick as far as what happened with her.
Yeah, so Rose is probably 70 some odd years old, and she's being diagnosed with macular degeneration, and in fact she actually is termed legally blind, or the doctors have stated she's legally blind. She cannot see anything, and so they've been treating her and she's going for all these tests. I mean, amongst that, she's had other issues like cancer and so many other things. But this particular testimony is amazing, so she started using just the X39, which is really what we talk about. And just recently she got a report from her doctor saying, because she couldn't see anything on the walls, she couldn't see anything in front of her. And so that was it, legally blind, and it's going to be that way for the rest of her life. But she had hope, just like you said, Linda, we have hope. And so she looked at this and she said she's going to use it. And thank God in the last, it was like 3 months this year sometime, she let us know that she went to the doctor, and the doctor,
Cleveland Clinic,
the Cleveland Clinic, and the doctor said to her, oh my goodness, what are you doing? Because she could actually see their fingers in front of her eyes, and she could read what was on the wall, the charts on the wall. And so they asked her, and she said, well, I'm using this X39 patch, and they actually documented that in her records. They said, Pam, what's her name? Rose. Sorry, we work with so many people. Rose Barfield is using the X39 patch, and it is created and invented by David Schmidt. And this has helped her eyes improve. So I don't know, like I said, we are not medically inclined or not medical professionals. So I understood that she had wet,
Yeah, that's what they were.
wet eyes or
What they call wet macular
wet
degeneration, and it was
macula,
dry or the
and now
opposite,
it's
whatever.
dry.
Yeah,
And
it's better.
so
it
it's
is.
definitely improved. But she's, I mean, she's just so excited. And the other thing we've noticed that it has, because she would text us and you couldn't make head or tail of what she was texting because it was just hibbledy-jibbledy, mixed up words and letters. And now it is so much more, you know, understandable because she's typing.
She'd have to call on the phone and say, Rose, I know you texted me
She's
something.
typing the word instead of, you know, all mixed up letters. So,
It's pretty
so
amazing.
we're seeing that, you know, practically in a text message.
Yeah. And so that's the part that we're always very excited about, is that even with, you know, sharing this with people, we try to explain, again, it's not meant to diagnose, treat, or do anything, but we've seen some amazing results, and even doctors are picking this up. And this is a plastic surgeon out of Tampa. He's world-renowned. Literally does laser plastic surgery. They do lasers removing layers of skin. And he said the normal recovery time is 5 to 7 weeks minimum, sometimes longer. And he said he's using this patch now 30 days prior to doing the procedure. He does it with every patient he has, and now it's taking 7 to 10 days. So the healing that happens is very rapid. He loves it. And people are calling him saying, you know, by the way, my neck doesn't hurt anymore. My knee doesn't hurt. I don't have my, you know, have this problem and that problem. He said, yeah, that's from the patch before they even have the laser, you know, therapy done. This is another gentleman who's on the website on thisisit.info.com. Literally, the Dr. Stillman, he does light therapy, and he uses these big red light therapy beds and all this kind of stuff. He goes, what can this little, you know, this little tiny thing do? But he realized it's actually a low level stimulation for a long period of time, where he has high level stimulation for short periods of time. And he said, he goes, I bet this would probably help. And it's helped tremendously. And you can watch the video of, he talks about, he uses a protocol for every single patient now, because it's helped dramatically, even better than some of the machines that cost him a lot of money. This is an example. I can show you hundreds of these, but this is a lady who said, I'm going to document what the differences are. So you look at day 1 compared to day 42 and compared to basically a year later. Again, for me, she looks like a younger sister. That's just me, you know, what she looks like today. She looks like a daughter. That's just me. This is what she looks like today. And there's so many documented people like that, people that have had severe, you know, injuries and bruising and stuff. This guy was working on the rafters and fell through the ceiling, basically broke 6 ribs, punctured his lung. You're talking about some serious discomfort, right? Expected recovery, a minimum of 6 weeks. He was back to work within 3 weeks. And look at the dates here, the 17th to the 30th. And we were in St. Louis. A gentleman showed me a picture of his friend who had fallen down the stairs. His whole backside was same thing, right on his bum, so to say. Like, basically it was same thing, but his recovery was 8 days because he'd been using the patch for like 3 weeks. So prior to actually that even happening. But people that have, again, eczema and what's they call it, psoriasis and different things like that. My wife had challenges with that, with her skin and stuff like that. Amazing differences, and just over and over and over. I could show so many different documented different things. But the biggest thing we tell people is go to thisisit.info.com. So write that down, thisisit.info.com. Go there. But also there's at the very top has testimonies. You can click on all the different ailments, different challenges people are having, and watch all these different testimonies. And these are recorded testimonies from people that are basically, that they're saying, hey, I would love to share my testimony. Can I do that? And we have hundreds of them personally. I mean, it's pretty amazing, you know, the results. So the one thing I want to do is basically, I'm going to stop for just 1 minute. But basically we can answer maybe a couple real quick questions, but I want to actually open it up because this part is basically just on the product. We do have another 5-10 minutes. We want to share a little bit about what we want to do is kind of help people share this, and the companies open it up where we can actually share this and actually be compensated for it. But was there anybody that had any quick questions on the product itself, kind of what we've gone over? I didn't know if you know, Teresa, or if you know, Anthony or Tina or Shannon or everybody else had any questions specifically that we can answer at this point. You can unmute yourself and do that. If not, I'll kind of explain a little bit more about helping us share this opportunity. No. I always want to stop there because, again, I could pick on people, but if you don't want to share, that's fine too. So it's
and that's, you know, I mean, whether you have the question now or later, after looking at This Is It info, we're available to assist in any way.
Yeah, and like I said, Linda and Rusty become great students, you know, learning, you know, more about this. But the other part the company does, it's basically being shared word of mouth. And to me, that's awesome for us because we love helping people, sharing people. The same way if we go to a great restaurant, or same way we see a good movie, we go somewhere, we let people know about that, make recommendations. We also say, don't go here, don't go there, and stuff like that too. But that's what people do. But for us, it's also, we looked at this as there's a business opportunity behind this. And the reason we're mentioning this, because if you said, hey, I would love to share this with others, I'd like to experience this myself and share this, we let people know this is available. So the part that I love about it is it's set up as a network, which is great because again, if you know people to do that, instead of spending hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising, they basically open this up so people can actually earn that. They pay actually 60% of the sale basically to the people who are actually partnering on the business standpoint through various different means and stuff like that. But most people have different reasons why they may want to share this. Everybody says, hey, I just want to share it for friends and family. Other people say, well, heck, if I can earn a little bit of money, that'd be great. I saw this and I started working with people on this. We started seeing, oh my goodness, we're starting to make money. I looked at the idea going, oh my goodness, I might be able to have freedom. I might be able to be financially independent. And in 14 months, I was able to replace a 6-figure income, literally working a job through this business. I was hoping and praying, I was thinking maybe 5 years down the road or something like that. But 14 months later, we talked about it, prayed about it and said, oh my goodness, doors could open. So, because I said, I want to spend time with my wife, not my boss, if you know what I mean. I want to be able to have time with family and things like that. But a lot of people today, they want security. They're looking for different streams of income. Some people like the idea of traveling, better health, less debt. And so when we challenge people all the time and they say, if you really had some extra money coming in, if you even had an extra $1,000 a month, how would that change your life? If you had an extra $1,000 a week, how would that change your life? And for people that are big thinkers like us, I said, well, but what about $1,000 a day? And so we're working with people that are actually doing that. And we'll kind of explain it, which is pretty cool.
So the company itself is 19 years old. Like Greg said earlier, we didn't know they existed. And this year they will celebrate their 20th year. And they've grown from 20 million US to 320 million in the last 3 years. And the company itself closed at about 430 million in December 2023. And they're predicting that it will be well over $500 million, closing at $500 million this year, over 500 million. This year, opening over 75 countries. And when we talk about it not being a Me Too product, we mean, you know, we've supported businesses that have skincare supplements, CBDs, essential oils, things like that, weight loss products, etc. And a lot of them have some really, really good products, but you can walk into CVS and you can find, you know, hair shampoos and things like that, or you can find skincare and you can find supplements. But what we have, when we share this with someone, they're like, what? Tell us some more. Where do you get it? And so we have something that is exclusive and it still has a 17-year patent running on it.
Yeah.
So we love sharing about this and, you know, almost, well, I'd say 99% of the people that we talk to have not heard about it yet. And this is around the world as well.
Yeah, it's neat because the one thing that we talk about also from a business standpoint, it's the fastest growing network of any kind. So those, you know, anything about like a networking type business, it's the #1 momentum ranked company right now. It's growing like crazy. They just won a bunch of awards for that. And then our team, it's kind of funny. You'll see different things that like, this is it info and this is it team. Well, this was basically because the couple we work with, Lily made a lot of money, made over $50 million in this industry before they came to LifeWave. And they said, we want to help people make a lot of money. But more importantly, they said, when they saw this, they were praying for a year for, once again, a product, a company. They're praying for God's favor on their team, everything they're doing. And today, they're the fastest growing team. So the blue line here is actually surpassed even the growth of the company itself. And they called it, This Is It. And they said, oh my goodness, this is it. And so then when they start explaining and we start hearing more about how the compensation is made, I'm like, this is amazing. We can help people who help people who help people. And it's set up, again, is very, very simple from a standpoint that there's 4 different ways you can make money. The first one is basically when someone registers, you can make a little bit of money when someone registers. The second way is what's called a binary. And the binary is pretty big because we understand the idea of basically building a business. Some people love this idea. Some people are like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. We were kind of like, hey, if it's an opportunity that we can share with others and get paid for that, that's great. We never built a binary. We didn't understand how that worked until we understood that there are actually people that were above us that were actually putting people underneath us. And so you build 2 teams, a right team and a left team. So in order to basically become what they call a manager, and these are just titles basically that people can strive for and actually open up income from the business standpoint, is that you build 2 people. So you get registered yourself, put 2 people on the right, 2 people on the left. And when you register, you get it at the wholesale price. You can do something at the retail. We teach everybody how to buy it at wholesale, which we'll explain in a second. And so with this, even at this level here, by finding 4 people, by being a manager, you can make up to $1,500 a week. Then we help other people. And this person says, I want to become a manager. This person wants to become a manager. If you help two managers, you become a director. You make up to $2,500 a week. And then once again, it grows from there. So once again, you help two directors, they become a senior director, basically up to $3,500 executive. So they've got this all available where people can make up to $25,000 a week from this program. That's not bad. That's $1.3 million, but it's actually, I mean, to me, that's, I tell people, I say, hey, forget about the big numbers. What if you can help, if we can help you make an extra $1,000 a month or an extra $1,000 a week? For a lot of people, $1,000 a week is a game changer. But they said on average, the average household today needs to make at least an extra $1,000 a month just to cover the same expenses from 2 to 3 years ago because of inflation. And we've seen that. I don't know, here in Florida, it's our house insurance has doubled, almost tripled. Our car insurance has doubled, almost tripled, and all these other, and that's just those two things, not including groceries and everything else. So the second biggest way is basically what they call a matching bonus. One thing that I tell people all the time is when people look at the competition, they go, well, that's a pretty, they share a lot of the money. Well, like I mentioned, 60% of the profit or 60% of the product sales, primarily it's not just the profit, because again, it took a long time for this to be developed. But since they make it, it now costs pennies per patch to make. So they pass this along instead of marketing advertising. We're basically the marketing advertising, and it's huge. So as an example, if we basically say, hey, I know someone who's interested in developing this and building a business, you actually get 25% of their binary. So if they're making $1,000 a week, or say $1,000 a month, you make $250 a month. If they make $1,000 a week, you make $250 a week, and it grows from there. Now, what happens is these people bring in other people. So again, when they do that, you now get 20% of what they do. And then once again, they bring in other people, they bring in 20% of what they do at these different levels. So a real life example, and this is the guy who brought me in. He has a very successful company, makes a multiple six-figure income by actually has all these employees, everything else. He took a look at this and said, I want to help a lot of people. He didn't realize how fast and big it was going to grow. So even in less than 2 years, he's making over $10,000 a week. And he said, it's okay to share this, with people. So he's the person that told me about this. So he said, he goes, imagine his name's Ken. And see, Ken goes, hey, if you were here and you said, I know people who actually want to make a lot of money. If you have found someone who's making $10,000 a week, you'd make $2,500 a week from that one person. You have unlimited people that you can bring in personally. Now, Ken has brought in like 150, 160 people or whatever. I don't even know, probably more than that. We're one of them. So you actually get 20% of what we do along with all those other people. And then we've brought in like 150 plus people. So imagine getting 20% of that. But this is reality. People in the company are making over $100,000 a week from this alone. So we tell people about this all the time. We say, hey, it's up to you what you want to do. Huge income is available out there with a very unique product. If you're thinking big money, this is fantastic. But for a lot of people, we'd like to help you make an extra couple $100 a week to make an extra $1,000 a month and just grow it, from there. So how we get started is very, very simple. Our whole goal is we'd like to get people to utilize the product. We tell people all the time, we get it to people at the wholesale price. They've got basically an order form. The order form, you can do it at retail at $150 for a 30-day supply. We've talked to a lot of people, they go, that's it? I was thinking it was going to be like a lot more than that because they're familiar with stem cell injections at thousands of dollars a pop. For me to do that, it would have been about $30,000 to try to fix all the things that I was doing. And there was no guarantees on this. Yeah. This even does have a 30-day money back guarantee by buying that, but we want to get to people at the wholesale price. So the different options on wholesale is if you buy at least 3 sleeves, you basically get it for basically $99.95, so $100 a sleeve. So it's almost like buying 2 and getting 1 free. This is for people who just want to try it. I'm like, hey, if you got a husband and wife, great, do that, and then get set up on auto ship. So once again, we tell people if it's 1 person, they can get a 1 sleeve auto ship or 2 sleeves, basically the a monthly subscription. By being on that, it makes sense. And you have full control of that. You can stop at any time. There's no like, oh my gosh, you got to write to the right Congress to actually get done. It's simple. You click a box or you give us a call, we uncheck it, and you're no longer getting that. But we don't have people do that. We have a lot of people are like, I got more people I want to talk to. Can you help me talk to them? For people who say, I'm interested from building a business standpoint, there's a package called Gold that literally you get 5 sleeves. And what people say, well, why do I need 5 sleeves? Well, it's to be able to share with others. So what happens is that it takes about 5 to 7 days to normally get the product. So we tell people it's actually shipped to you. What happens is that for us, I said, hey, since I heard that, I said, I want to get this in people's hands immediately. And so we said, hey, we want to get as much product as we possibly can. So we got what's called the Diamond Package, which is basically 19 sleeves for $1,600. Why do we need 19 sleeves? Because what would happen is that when people actually said, hey, I'm interested in the product, we say, tell you what we'll do. If you're local to us, we will lend you a sleeve today so you can start using it today. And then when your patches come in, 5 to 7 days from now, just give us one back. So if we're local, we can do that. And that's what we started doing, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with people. And people were, before they even got their product delivered to them, people were saying, oh my gosh, my headaches are gone and I'm sleeping better. Oh my gosh, I feel better. My foot pain's gone. All these kind of things, just over and over and over. And so we did that. And 2.5 weeks, we made our money back. I've never seen a business like that where you can be in the black within the first month.
Yeah.
And the very first month, we made $2,800. Did you want to say something real quick?
Yeah, and the wholesale price when you buy it at the diamond level is $84 per sleeve. So you're actually saving some money, or you're getting 3 of these out of the 19 for free.
Yep.
So we saw that as, oh, well, you know what, this actually benefits us. And then also we did not have to get on the auto ship for 90 days. So we could focus on the people and helping the people. That was our thing. We
Yep.
wanted to, we thought, well, this is great. We're going to tell as many people as we know out there.
Yeah.
So that's why we did the diamond pack. And then also the upfront product introduction bonus that was paid out at the diamond level for the first 90 days was $500 if you sign up another diamond, as opposed to $200 if you're a gold and you sign up a diamond, you're going to make $200 and not the $500. So that is how we made our money back pretty quickly. So there were some benefits to getting that package, and as business owners, we saw that and we wanted to participate in that.
Yeah, and the last thing is that these are one-time purchases only. You can only buy this pack one time, and then so our monthly expense for our business is $200 a month. I get to sleep, she gets to sleep. I'm like, you don't touch mine, I won't touch yours, and that's it. So pretty much that's it. Again, the biggest part that we talk to people about is there's also a whole system we use, and there's a compensation video on thisisitteam.com. It's not even password protected. You can go there, take a look at the very top here and go to compensation plan on thisisitteam.com. And then Lily, we always tell people is that we want people to experience this. And so our whole goal is to say, hey, try it. There's no risk whatsoever. There's just like, with Rusty and Liz said, heck, let's try it and see what happens. And also they're like, oh my goodness, what a difference. So we're pretty much wrapped up now. We again, we want to open up for maybe just 2 minutes of questions, because we got to jump on another meeting that 8 o'clock that we are doing for our team and stuff like that. But there's a whole teaching system and everything that we do. But I didn't know if there's anything else, Linda, you and Rusty wanted to say, or if there's or like maybe one quick question that we can answer for people.
This was amazing. I am so thankful that you guys took the time to do this, because I know it was so last minute. And you have another Zoom right after this. And I'm so thankful for the friends that jumped on. And I know I have so many, they're blowing up my phone now. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it. I had work, or I had another Zoom or whatever. So thank you for recording this so I can share it with them. We're just, really excited about it. Thank you.
Awesome. And so what we'd recommend is feel free to get back with, Rusty and Linda. They've got our number 2. So we're here to, we want to help people. That's our we're basically ordained in the church, basically to not because of being pastors of a church, just to be able to help. And we go to hospitals and pray for people, all kinds of stuff like that. We just love helping people. And we've seen this as a gift. It's just a blessing for me. We pray for other people. They get healed. I'm like, where's my healing? And so it's like God had a different plan. He was using some, but it's been absolutely phenomenal. So we appreciate, Rusty and Linda, we appreciate, I'm so glad that God reconnected us. Isn't that amazing how this happened?
It really is. Really is.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll stop it now. But again, if you guys got any questions, please reach out to Linda, Rusty. Let us know any way we can help out. And we'd love to help you out. If you say, hey, I want to try the product, very simple, takes 5 minutes to get you in the system. And then you can start getting the product and experiencing this for yourselves.
And if any of you are saying, well, I'd love for Greg and Mena and Linda and Rusty to get on a Zoom with some of my friends, we would be willing to do that as well. And Linda and Rusty, if you want us to do another launch for your friends that could not get on, we can do that as well. So this is a first for you guys, and we hope that you got the information you're looking for. And if there's any questions coming out of this, you're more than welcome to pass them on to us.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sure will. Thank you.
So glad we didn't get a chance to talk to everybody, but I'm glad we got on. And like I said, we'll look forward to talking with people more who have got any questions. So otherwise, God bless you. Have an amazing
blessing. See you, everybody. Bye.
I appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye-bye.